Dereck,
What do you?
I want to ask about Chet. He's obviously a great, rookie this year, but there's a little extra motivation going against him, and just what do you think you can do to stop him?
He's a great player. He picks and pops. He could roll. He could finish. He could shoot. There's a lot of things overall he could do well. So he's going to be able to just find his rhythm, try to be able to get him off of his spots, and try to make him uncomfortable.
What emotions go into losing Maxey? Obviously, Kid talked about next man up, but I'm sure you guys as teammates just got to feel awful.
I mean, yeah, just seeing one of our family members go down that bad we all get hit. Just being able to know we got to be able to pick them up. There's a lot of people who's looking at us, a lot of people who's questioning what we're going to do, but Maxey knows that we got his back, and we know that he's going to do whatever he can to get better. But we got to be able to take it game by game, next man up, like as you said.
After the midseason trade, you beat this team by 35 points. What do you take from that game going into game one?
It's definitely going to be a dogfight. Both teams got a lot of animosity going into the game. Everyone wants to come out and throw the first punch, but it's going to be able to who could take the first punch and then throw another. That's really what this game's going to be about.
I don't think Dereck played in that game doing.
I didn't.
I know. I say, what do you take as a team? Animosity. Why does both teams have a lot of animosity?
I just feel like there's two great teams. Everyone's always just trying to compete, and now we're in a playoff atmosphere. So it just takes everything that we thought was high intensity in the middle of the season, and it just ramps it up tenfold.
How about in terms of you individually? Obviously last playoff series was your first experience. Did you find yourself getting more and more comfortable with playoff basketball as that series
For sure.
played out?
It really comes down to possession by possession. You got to be able to understand how the refs are calling the game. You got to be able to understand the flow of the game. And you got to be able to understand that every single touch matters. So you got to be able to set the screen correctly. You got to be able to know the play correctly. But at the same time, you can't be a robot. You got to go out there and play basketball. You got to be able to make reads. You got to be able to be comfortable. You got to be able to trust your teammates.
These two teams are forever linked to each other because of what happened on draft night and obviously you being drafted to this team. Have you thought about any of that, obviously, since the matchup has been made official, about what kind of maybe full circle moment this kind of is for you in this way?
I feel like, you could say that, but, both teams got what they needed. Dallas got a big, OKC got a great defender, a great guard. So we know that Kayson's a great player. Kayson knows I'm a great player. We have a lot of respect for one another. So it's going to be able to just see who can go out there and do the most, who can go out there and do the best little things so that they can affect the game.
What's it like playing with Kyrie? And by that I mean, the other twice in this series, he has basically nothing in the first half and then turns it up and breaks loose and goes nuts in the second half. Do you guys sense that when he's slipping into
getting hot? For sure. You can sense whenever he's really locked in. And sometimes it just takes maybe a missed shot. It takes maybe just a layup or maybe even just an assist. And you could just start to see how in tune that he is into the game, how locked in and how he's trying to find his spots. He's not rushed. He's not out of control. He's one of the most he's one of the most controlled players I know. Let me say that correctly.
Is it similar with Luka when he's starting to get locked in, or
sure.
Does it feel the same, or does it feel or look slightly different, or is it very similar?
It really comes down to everyone just watching the ball and then just watching Luka's eyes, because his eyes are going to be able to tell you all you need to know. You're going to tell if he's mad. You're going to tell if he's locked in. You're going to tell him if he wants a matchup or who he wants. You're going to be able to tell that just by the way he looks at you. Mm-hmm. Having just two monsters like that in the team just makes everybody feel more confident on the floor. Makes them want to step up and make that shot or step up and make the right read.
Can you talk about your relationship with Tyson, Chandler, and Sean Sweeney? We see the two of them working with you day by day. How has that relationship developed and what you've gotten from them?
I almost talk to those two daily, if not daily. Being able to know that, when I went home, usually it was my mom to talk basketball too. And, that was, at this point, I can't do that anymore. So I find myself talking to Sweeney and Tyson Chandler even more, texting them about a clip or how I should guard this specific screen, how I should guard this specific post move, what positioning should I be in this time. And it's just trying to figure out how I can learn as much as possible in this high-intensity environment. Tyson's been in this, and Tyson's probably, he has more excitement out there than anyone on the floor. That's crazy because I'm 20, and he has more excitement than me. Just being able to have someone like that there just makes me feel more confident and just makes me just want to learn much more faster.
Dereck, you talked about your experience in the first round of the playoffs. From a team perspective, what would you like to see carry over into the series with the Thunder?
The attention to detail, the dedication in the matchup, the dedication to the next man up mentality, and the dedication to the game plan. You know, we all know what we're trying to do. We all know what matchup, what play we're trying to run, what action we're trying to get into, and what defense we're trying to run. But at the same time, it's all going to come down to if we can be able to talk, trust, be able to communicate on the floor.
And how much does avoiding a Game 7, getting rest and getting more preparation do for this team?
It gives us definitely a second to put our ice on our knees, take a second to be able to review some film, learn from our mistakes, and be able to try to reflect and try to just become a better player. Because, everything comes down to just little details.
I know I've asked you this already during the season, but from summer league to the regular season to now, it seems like you and Chet just been going at it. So how does it feel to be going against him again for pretty much the third time?
It's amazing. He's a great player. He's a great person, and he just has this competitive bone in him that just makes everybody just wants to step up and check him. Being able to know that he's going to go out there, he's going to shoot a three, he's going to yell in your face, he's going to go out there, he's going to block a shot, he's going to dunk. It just makes you just that much more excited of what's going to happen. He's going to be a great player, so he's got to be able to make yourself step up even higher.
Dereck, what did you learn specifically from your first playoff series?
Trust the routine. There's going to be a lot of different things going on in your life. There's going to be a lot of things going on off the floor, a lot of different game times, a lot of things going on. But all you can do is just trust your routine that you've been building all season.
Obviously, who scores the most points wins, but how important is it to dial things up on the defensive end of the court?
A lot more physicality, just a lot more dedication of just, if you're going to set a screen, you got to set and hit the screen. You got to hit the person with the screen. But at the same time, if you're on defense, you got to get over. So there's just a lot of more third and fourth efforts rather than the first and second efforts that you see throughout the normal season.
You a better singer than Chet?
I don't sing at all, so I could give him that. I can barely speak English at this time of day, so I definitely don't got that.
What's most challenging about facing a guard with size and pace that plays into the gaps like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as the anchor of the defense?
Is just going to be able to just try to show him a crowd, trying to make sure that we know where his spots is trying to be and trying to get him off of his spots, trying to make him uncomfortable, as I said. And, he's a great player. He's going to make those shots. He's going to make tough shots. He's going to make crazy shots. But at the same time, we got to be able to take it out and push the ball up the floor with pace. It's going to be a possession-by-possession game, as we know. So he's going to be able to go out there and who's going to be able to make the correct transition play or who's going to make the correct defensive read. So it's really just going to come down to a lot of fine details.
Since the games are basically played every other day, is there an advantage either way that, you got a short trip?
I guess, yeah. It's definitely better being on a plane for 45 minutes than 2.5 hours. Mm-hmm. It's definitely instead of it's like a long drive rather than a long flight. Mm-hmm. So being able to have that quick turnaround can definitely help us be able to get our bodies and our minds right.
So you gonna drive up there?
No, definitely not. But it's different looking at a 45-minute flight than a 2-hour and 45-minute flight.
Okay, all right, I got you.
Appreciate y'all.
Okay.
Have a good one.
Thank you.